I'm not sure if you watch sports, and you've been seeing, what's been happening within in the WNBA and the NBA, painting Black Lives Matter on the court and things of that nature. What are your thoughts about that? Like, how you feeling about what's going on there?
I think companies are kind of just taking it as an opportunity to, I guess, appeal to a certain audience. Even like I play Call of Duty sometimes, and they had Black Lives Matter on there, and
On Call of
every
Duty?
yeah, Call of Duty. They have it on
Wait,
like when
it says
you
Black Lives
it said
Matter
Black Lives Matter when you
on Call
first
of Duty.
logged in. Now I'm just like everyone's just trying to get a piece of the pie. It feels like, and they're kind of using the publicity Black Lives Matter is getting as like I don't know, some kind of board for them to, I don't know, get more sales. Hey, we agree with Black Lives Matter. Come on down and play our game, or come on down, we support this, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's more
whatever
performative at
the
that point.
majority supports is what they're gonna say, because it equals sales, it equals this, you know? So I mean, to me, I don't think it's the WNBA's or anyone's place to even pick a side in that, really. I know that people say
Silence is violence.
silence is violence, or silence is like agreeing or something like that. But as a corporation, I don't think it's your place to even, because it seems opportunistic in my eyes. That's just
Statements are easy. I think that painting the court is easy. Putting a jersey on is easy. I love sports. I've been watching much more basketball than I think I ever have because there's always a game on. And while for me it feels performative because I think, well, where were you last year? Or where were you 2 months ago before you felt this pressure? What I also know is that for a kid who's living in an area where they've never had to think about the pain of Breonna Taylor's fiance or the pain of Tamir Rice's mother, for them to see a name on a jersey, maybe it makes them curious to say, who is that person? And so it's performative, it feels opportunistic, but there's an opportunity for education to come out of that. So that's the kind of next step that won't happen by the WNBA or, even NASCAR. And, again, I'm Southern, so I love NASCAR, I will admit that. But it's about the next step. And that happens from consumers, from viewers, from players, so that when you have a LeBron James say, how dare you tell me to shut up and dribble? Because yes, I've made all this money and I'm successful, but I still have gone home and seen the N-word spray painted on my home. That's a reality of realizing that it's time to pop the bubble.
Merely just slapping a sticker or label on something in the loading screen of Call of Duty on a basketball court. While it's wonderful to have it put there, for it to be seen, to be recognized, to know what it means, what it stands for, there's always a next step that can be taken. For example, like when the NBA and WNBA just sat out a game, taking direct action play time off the screen. They can go even further with hosting their own movement in the streets or their own protest, actively being engaged and throwing caution to the wind, being in the pandemic to address this racial pandemic, speaks volumes that we're very upset about something and willing to risk our own health during these times.
And that's real, risking your own health for that.
Do you think there's ever a line that we draw where we don't necessarily think of that? It's just like, you didn't do that last year, but now that all the pressure's on you, now you have to, and now you feel like you have to.
Yeah, I think acknowledgement goes a long way. But now, how do we move forward? And something as simple as acknowledging that allows people to see that you don't just want a free pass because you showed up to do it. After George Floyd was murdered, I was inundated with people coming to me and saying, what should I do? I want to do something. I want to help, but I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I don't want to be viewed as someone who's just showing up overnight and now trying to claim this space. That takes a level of self-awareness that a lot of folks don't have. To honor the people who have been doing this work for a long time, but to also say, how can I contribute what I know or what I do or to whom I'm connected in order to move forward together? And for young people, it's why I keep pushing the point. We need you in this. Some folks want to march, let them march. Some people believe that voting and sort of formalized activism is the best way. Let them move that. Because to move this country forward, it has to be a both and approach, not either or. There is no going back at this point. I know a lot of people talk about the return to normal. Normal is done. Now the question is, how do we create a new normal that is stronger, that's more inclusive, that's more effective for greater numbers of people? Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing.
You know, I hear a lot of comments about, you know, all this happening, all these protests, and no progress is really being made, like nothing's really being changed. Do you think that that is happening because there are no leaders at the spearhead of it? I mean, you know, if you think back to like in the past, like, you know, Martin Luther King, like, you know, we had leaders, but like, do you think people are afraid to be leaders now because like for the risk of literally getting assassinated, and that's why nothing is happening? Like, that's why there's reluctance of the youth. Do you think we need one person at the head of it, kind of like bringing along the coalition?
I would think that the reality is we will never have another Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Never. And that's not what we should be looking for. The job of a good leader is to create space for people to succeed you and to surpass you. If all you're doing is claiming space and claiming a title, you're not a leader. It's a difference between, you know, people who can give a really great speech but have no follow through. What I do think we need more of, particularly with young people, is that willingness to have the conversation with older generations, and the realization that if older people aren't willing to pass the torch, you don't wait for that. You run your race. Because in order for us to move forward collectively as a country, that's what's needed. And I look at people in Congress who've been there 50 years, 60 years. Why? You know, because it has an impact on how you all connect and what you care about, whether that's locally or nationally in politics or just in your university organizations and settings. That's where we should go.